Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. Today, I'm going to be talking about something very unconventional, I would say, which might be quite risky if you try to approach life this way, but mm, sometimes you have no choice. So, I'll be talking with you guys today about how to use depression as a weapon and how to basically leverage it. So, simply put, a lot of people find themselves in very depressive situations, and at times you feel like, oh, it's the end of the road and there's nothing I can ever accomplish, and I'm doomed with life as it is. What's the point? I feel like the minute you find yourself in this situation, I think first of all you should appreciate the fact that you feel something. You might feel dead inside, I get that, but you feel something, and that recognition makes you kind of affirm your existence, because there's just something weird about how at times whenever we find ourselves in like cloudy and beautiful and miraculous situations, and we're also like, oh, distracted and like on a cloud, and then we forget, you know, kind of like chasing that hedonistic drug, so to speak. But whenever you find yourself in those moments or those depressive moments, there's just something that happens whereby you have the opportunity to think, and most importantly, number one, you get to evaluate. What do I mean by evaluate? You get to actually see what each and every single aspect of your life is worth, what people in your life bring or take, and how important you are in other people's life or not. And I feel like the minute you come to that understanding, it's very, very, very easy for you to trim the fat, if that makes sense. Um, Obviously, figuratively, but also if you do it physically, it might cure you depression. I'm just saying. But the problem is, it's hard to kind of like reevaluate where we are at when everything seems good. It might be good, but when everything seems good, then it's best that we kind of like pay more attention to, I don't know, how the dynamics of our lives operate, who is in our lives, and what are they doing in there, what things are important to you, what are you grateful for. All those little things, I feel like in those moments you get to reflect. Well, obviously you can always reflect if you're happy, if you're like conscientious about it. Is that a word? Yeah, like if you're deliberate, I meant. um, I hate using bombastic terms at times, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. And secondly, we already talked about how we get to evaluate. Secondly, I feel like there's a certain feeling whenever you're in a depressive episode that you're like at rock bottom. So rock bottom is usually linked with like monetary gain, or like if you're like uh, substance abuse, or like maybe you've tolerated a bunch of BS in relationships, and like maybe you don't feel like you're living up to your potential, and like all those kind of things. But I feel like there's also rock bottom in the sense like, despite how rich and how much money you have, how things may be going so well, there's always that depressive, like, that dissatisfaction with life itself. You forget to be grateful and all that stuff. And I feel like when you're at that point and your back is against the wall, I feel like it's important that you actually deliberately go for anything. Because the thing is, if you're like that far back, like, oh, what more can you lose? I mean, you'd be like, oh yeah, what about this? But it's like, if you still feel a sense of discontent while existing in whatever world you think you're afraid of losing, then what's the point? You know what I mean? It's like, are you just gonna like kind of jog along in life until your grave? Because let's be honest, we all gonna die. Mortality comes for all of us. I mean, you can try to extend your life only by a few years or whatever, but death comes for us all. And I feel like the minute we recognize that our lives are still in our control, because I feel like that's ironically what most people feel whenever they're depressed. It's like, yeah, your back is against the wall, but you know what? You got support behind you. Your back's against the wall. Like if, like I can bench in the air, but if there's a bench behind me, it's easy for me to bench. I lift weights and stuff, but again, not to get distracted. But so one thing you can do is just use it as a motivating factor. Like, this is it. Do whatever it is that you want, and obviously try to see, what do I need to do, what promises do I need to make for myself that I will keep, so that looking back a week, a month, a year, a decade, a century if you're lucky, back to this, what would I be proud of? Obviously, you're still gonna regret some things, you're gonna make some mistakes, but you all know, like, the biggest regret is the thing that you never made, the actions you never take, you know? The whole basketball metaphor, like, you miss all the shots you never take, some type of thing, like, yeah. So it's very simple. If your back's against the wall, you got no option, then you gotta start acting like it and just go for it. And then the last tool, or the last way that you can use your depression uh, against its own self is very simple. You gotta close your eyes and recognize it, and then feel it, and then be grateful for every other thing beyond that. Because I feel like I hate to repeat myself, but whenever we had Jubilee or whatever, we forgot to be grateful. And like, if you're not grateful about anything, it's like you'll always be hungry and starving. It's like, I forgot the story, but I think it's one author was at a billionaire's party and they were joking with one another, and then the other author mentioned that the book you just wrote will it's gonna make less money than this billionaire made in his sleep tonight, or something, for the rest of your life. And then just busting each other's bubble, a bit of banner, yeah. But and then the other author responded, if I remember this, I'm gonna put it in the if I remember, like, I think it's famous authors, but I don't read that. I don't read books. I'm a dumbass. But okay, you get. So, and he responded very interesting. Like, yeah, they may have everything, but I understand what enough is. So I feel like us being grateful and recognizing what enough for us is, and recognizing what we don't need and what we need, can also kind of like help us kind of have a better understanding of our motivations and like why we do the things we want to do. Like, yeah, sometimes whenever people mention things like work-life balance, it's always like, oh, you're trading up something, losing out on something, or you gotta work hard, time is money, blah blah blah. And then it's like, not necessarily. I think time is time. Money just help you manage your time better and gives you better opportunities in the time you have, but time itself is precious. And I feel like once we recognize that in our depressive episodes, it doesn't it's like, the saying, like, as a healthy man, you want this, you want that, but then as someone who's sick, they just want to get better. Like, that little thing, it's like, it simplifies life so much that you can just know exactly what it is that you need to do. So be grateful, and then once you're grateful, then you recognize the things that are worth it, that can motivate you out of that depression, and then you can slowly start taking action, and like, think of yourself as not being depressed, like I am depressed, like I'm a depressed person, but think of you like, right now, for the time being, this version of myself. And that means you can become a different version of yourself. I know it's all over the place right now, but I really hope whoever hears this recognizes that it's not just about, I'm going through this is what I am, life is tough and all that stuff. It's like, maybe is the time to reflect and try to see, why am I in this position, how much of it is my fault, taking accountability, and what things can I change, what things don't I have control over, and what would be enough, and what does it take, and make promises to yourself to be better and keep those promises. And you know what, you just have a better relationship with yourself in general. You don't have to be depressed for this to happen to you, but I hope you take this to heart. And yeah, I don't know. So anyway, I'm just gonna have my, it's not Heineken, I promise, it's my cream soda, but Goluns. Goluns. Alright, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button. Follow me. You can also follow my tech channel where I'm gonna be deliberately tech stuff. I know two YouTube channels is a stupid idea, but I just kind of like want to separate my mind that way, because I don't want to give you the content that you don't want to listen to. But yeah, all right. Thank you very much. Have a good one. And I'm about to have breakfast and go to work.